So how are you doing?
Frustrated today.
Why?
Just student behavior. Like, it's from the ones that I don't usually get it from. Like, my first block was a little off the chain, but fortunately I have a TA, so he helped me ring things in. And my second block was way off, even with Ms. Fernandez in here. And it had a lot to do with, like, certain students coming in, like, determined, is it okay if I say names since we're
Yeah.
Kayla came in upset because in her first block with Miss Edwards, she was on her phone. Miss Edwards took her phone, attempted to, and she wouldn't give it away. So they got Mr. Amos. He called Kayla's mom, and Kayla's mom was like, give him the phone and you're losing X, Y, and Z. So Kayla was angry to the point of tears when she came in my room, and she flat out told me, like, when I went to try to talk to her, be like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? Don't talk to me. I was like, okay, well, I could tell you're having a bad day, but I still need you to be on task. I'll give you some space, but you can't misbehave, and you still can't be disrespectful. I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to do what I want to do. You can't say nothing to me. You can't do nothing to me. My mom can't do anything else to me. She took everything away. I was like, okay, so you're upset because your mom took everything away? Don't talk to me. Okay, well, I still need you to be on task. Everybody's supposed to be reading right now. I mean, cussing, just flat out saying, I'm going to do what I want to do, and you can't do anything about it. So she got all the way up to referral, but because she was doing that, people around her were feeding off of that. And I'm going to have to do a new seating chart for this block.
Good.
Because, and what I'm realizing is I'm probably going to have to do a rotation every few weeks, change it up.
Absolutely.
Because, my experience from the first couple of weeks says, okay, you can put these people next to each other, they're not going to talk a lot. Then they become friends and they get super chatty and they feed off each other.
That's
so
right.
I'm going to have to just keep changing it up.
Yeah.
I think throughout the year. So I know that, and I'm going to try to work on that tonight. I have to do grades tonight, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to get a new sitting chart done before tomorrow. But I really want to, because I think that's the best way to try to have a productive day tomorrow.
Yeah, and let's think to our, take back to the very beginning today when we did our real-time teacher coaching, and let's try to live in that moment for a little bit and see how we can use that time to positively impact the rest of your day. So we'll come back to all those issues you brought up. Okay. But we'll try to base it in, that's our crux objective, and we'll come back. Okay. How did the radio session go for you this morning?
It went fine. It's getting easier, being able to listen to you and listen to the classroom and see what's going on. So that was good.
Do you have feedback for me?
Not anything in particular from today's session or anything. It was easy, like I said, it was easier to hear, so I was able to pick up what you were saying and try to work off of that better. It is encouraging when you're saying you're doing good.
Amazing.
Because sometimes when I'm doing the no nonsense nurturing and the 313 and stuff, I feel like it's not working because
it does.
Yeah. I know
you get stuck looking at the trees, but from my viewpoint, I get to see the forest. Yeah. So I'm seeing how all your teacher actions are impacting everybody. And I know it's easy to concentrate on the 5%, but 95% of your class is following your requests and your directions. So we set a goal last week of waiting to get to hands. So we were talking about how when students raise their hand or call out, you tend to talk with them and help them and assist.
And I lose track.
And you lose track.
Yeah.
But guess what I saw today?
I made them wait. Because it's so much better. It works so much better.
You say, you validate them.
So easily.
And it's so strong how you're doing it. You're doing it in a much better way than I ever was able to, because you are saying, I see you, I'll get to you. That validation is all they need, because guess what they do?
They just wait patiently.
Because she sees me, she will get to me. Yeah. And you're stopping it in its tracks. And at one point you had 3 silent hands raised, where last week we would have just had a shout out or frustration. Yeah. So talk to me about how that has become so successful in your class.
So once you pointed it out and I started doing it, I was like, this makes so much more sense. And this is more what it fits my weaknesses, if that makes any sense. I just realized somebody erased the dojo point from the board. It's supposed to be cool right there. My weakness is trying to reach everybody and then losing my train of thought and not knowing where to jump back in. And then, those who are trying to throw me off, they're successful because, then I'm trying to get everything back together. People are talking while I'm trying to get my thoughts together. So when I realized, okay, this helps me improve on my weakness, and it's just just do that. And it's so much more comfortable because I'm not, like, getting stressed out trying to answer a question and remember where I was. So that's been working really well with, like, my first and second block. I'm still trying to get them to understand my fourth block, raise your hand quietly, and I will get to you. Because they don't just shout out. They will walk up while I'm talking, like, try to have a conversation with me while I'm teaching. You can't do that right now. And, like, I've been, like, firm about have a seat. Because they're, like, two that I can think of, like, right off top who always do that. And they think it's okay. So, like, with those two particularly, I've been real firm about don't answer their question until they're in their seat with their hand up.
Good.
And at least one of them is really starting to get it. And yesterday he corrected himself. Like, he started to say something, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Yes. And I was like, thank you for fixing it. What can I do for you?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So,
and that deserves praise, you know?
Yeah.
You're thanking him for being cognizant to fix himself and change his behavior. You're not thanking him for meeting your expectation. You're thanking him of going above and beyond, so that way he can meet the expectation. So that's strong. And we'll keep that in our mind, because today I want to dive into looking at the cues that I give you during real-time teacher coaching. Okay. So this is the sheet I use. This is every time I give you a cue, I just tally it. Okay. And then I look at it afterwards to determine, you know, where's your biggest area of growth. Based on this form, what do you see as your biggest area of growth? What did I have to cue you the most?
Narration.
Narration.
Okay.
So in narration, whereas I cued you for directions, this is telling me you're really strong at coming up with directions and having them already on the fly.
Okay.
You know, I cued you twice for dojo points, and consequences you were given by yourself. I only needed to cue you once, but in narrations, I had gave you 7 cues in that 10 minutes to narrate.
Gotcha.
Why do you think we need to narrate more in class?
Narrate more than doing the other things, or just like narrate more in general?
Yeah, let's think about in class, you didn't narrate. What are students doing when you don't narrate?
Okay, so when we're talking about narrating, we're talking about me calling out when people are on task.
Yep. So
if they're usually kind of going off doing their own thing. Like, what I've noticed is if I have a student that, like, gets distracted easily, if they were talking and then they stop talking, I grab them while they're not talking and I give them a positive narration, and they're like, oh, yeah. And they stop, because it's like, it's not the ones who are like, I'm going to talk and I don't care. They're the ones who just easily get distracted. But if I narrate that you're on task, that second that I see you on task, then they stay on task.
Right.
Like, they may have been getting ready to start up another conversation. Like, I'll see it, like, they're going, and when I narrate, they stop and they're like, yeah, I sure am. You know?
And I saw that. I cued you to narrate when I saw and heard little pockets starting to make noise.
Yeah.
Narrate level 0. You narrate level 0. What did scholars do?
They started, zooming in and focusing and, like, being on level 0.
Yeah. So they're getting silent through your narration, and you don't need to get to a consequence. And if scholars are silent, what impact is that having on the rest of your class?
It makes the people around them be more quiet, because all of a sudden they're like most of them are not the blatant, I'm going to talk regardless, I don't care how loud I am. Most of them are like I'll talk while she can't notice me. But as it gets quieter and people start focusing their eyes where I ask them to, then they're like, oh, shoot, well, I can't get away with this now. I can't do this unnoticed. So
let's think about this block that you just had. What is the gap between our 7 extra narrations you had in your first block versus your use of narration in this block?
You mean, like, how much less was I narrating? I honestly feel like, I was narrating more in that block because that was my fallback, which I probably shouldn't think of it that way. It shouldn't be a fallback. It's like your first go-to. But when students were talking a lot when it was supposed to be quiet, like during air time, or their reading response journal time, or when I was trying to teach and students were off having their, I was narrating a lot because I didn't want to just stand up there and yell at them to be quiet. So I feel like I was narrating more there because I felt like it was all I could do. And it worked for certain people, but like I said, that block has a lot of people.
This is the last block you're
talking
about.
Well, the second block.
Second block.
Had, yeah. There were a lot of people today who were just like, I don't care.
Yeah. Let's hone in a little bit further. When I cued you to narrate, were scholars silent already, or were they talking loud during the morning? Do you remember? Most of the time I cued you to narrate, they were silent already.
During the air times.
Mm-hmm. Why would I cue you to narrate when kids are already silent?
So that they'll keep it up. They'll know I'm still paying attention even though everybody sounds and looks good right now.
So you're strategically narrating to prevent it from happening.
Yeah.
Were you strategically narrating in your second block? So when it was silent, did you keep narrating silence? Or did you start narration after it started to get loud? Because you said, I'm narrating to prevent.
It was probably after, because I was doing notebook checks while they were doing their airtime. So I was looking through people's notebooks, and then if I heard talking, I was standing up and scanning and then doing narration. Right. So I probably should have done some positive narrations before I started the notebook check.
Yeah, and a criteria for success in narrations is that in a class where they tend to get loud or noisy, is that you pop up as you're doing a notebook check, narrate 3 during the silence, because that helps maintain level 0, so that way students don't start talking or feeling tempted to talk. So based on that, what we're talking about, what do you think your action steps should be for this session?
Do positive narrations even when it's quiet. Practice my wording with my narrations, because I was paying attention to how, Ms. Edwards was helping me with my transition after I had to reset them. And I really appreciated that. And I listened to how she does, I think she does positive narrations better than I do.
Why?
I think, well, one, it's her wording. And 2, it's a difference between where our focuses are. I'll use positive. I'll look for students who normally are talking, and if I see them being quiet after, then I'll make sure to give positive narration. But she'll say, "Thank you for meeting expectations," and Lauren was at the front of the line, and she was like, "Lauren, thank you for setting the example as the line leader with the expectations. All right, we have so and so is meeting expectations by doing such and such. And even Ms. Fernandez, I noticed during my second block, there were it wasn't everybody that was talking during airtime. There was half the group that was really trying to read, and I could tell they were frustrated. But she talked to me. She was like, "Let's give some positive dojo points to so and so and so and so." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." So then she said to the class, if you're on task and doing your work, if you're reading and not talking, we see you. She was like, "I see you. And we're giving you positive dojo points for that, but I just want you to know that I see you if you're doing what you're supposed to do." And I was like, man, I don't do stuff like that enough. I will, every now and then, thank students for improving on something. Yeah. Or, when we're walking in the hallway, I'll say, so-and-so is at a level 0, so-and-so is tracking for da-da-da-da.
But don't deny your growth.
Framing it differently.
Don't deny your growth. Because, what we're focusing on, is the MVPs, then the narration, then the incentives and consequences. And your MVPs have grown so much. You're using them. They're scripted. They're in your lesson plans. They're on your clipboard, you know. So I see, in what other people are doing, we have to be careful about saying thank you to students, because we should only thank them when they're doing above and beyond. Yeah. So thanking somebody for setting a great example, yes. Thanking people for being in line, no. Because you're to be in line. My directions are be in line.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So today we're going to focus on, and we're going to quickly practice. You want to write this down? Do you have something to write this down?
Yeah.
Okay. So our action steps for this week, until this next session, because, like I said, you've met that goal about dealing with hands and having scripted MVPs ready and using them in class. Yeah. So you meet your action steps each week, which is making you become so much stronger. So again, you see the trees, and I'm able to see the forest, and you are progressing. Okay. This time, yes, you're going to narrate voice level after each MVP, right? So after we give a direction, we narrate voice level. After each, so you have after each MVP, comma, interruption, comma, in sustained task. How is narrating after an interruption happens? So somebody bursts in your door, somebody drops something here, and a student comes up to you. Yeah. Why is it important to narrate quickly?
Because that sets off, it's a ripple effect really quickly. soon as somebody like comes in the door and is trying to take over the attention of the room, it's important to get them rein back in.
And this is an important step for you to practice, because guess what you naturally do after 3 narrations? What is the 4th step or the 3rd step?
Oh,
after you narrate, what do you give?
Consequence.
And you give it. You're not struggling in that. You're not afraid to give kids consequences. Look at your clipboard.
Yeah, right.
You're tracking up. So this is the one we're going to zoom in and focus stronger on. Using positive narration, and like you voiced yourself, you're hearing how teachers are using it and making it their own. We need to narrate after every single direction, after an interruption, and during a sustained task. So let's practice. Can you want to take it live for me? Okay. I want you to check notebooks. Okay, you're checking notebooks. So replay what's happening in this second block class when it started to. Yep. So take it, stand up right here, and we'll just do here. I know I'm filming. Give the MVP direction, and then narrate, and then start checking notebooks and narrate in between.
Right. At a level 0, continue reading your independent reading book. As you're doing so, I'll come around and check your notebooks for your progress report. Please continue reading at a level 0. As I'm doing so, Kata's at a level 0. Shahira's at a level 0. Shanae's at level 0. Guillermo at a level 0. That's a verbal warning.
Go ahead and check the notebooks.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So I'm checking the... Anthony's still at a level 0. Sean's still at a level 0. Lauren's still at a level 0. Malik, we're at level 0. It's a verbal warning. Jamie's still at level 0. Desiree's still at level 0.
Quickly move on to the next student.
Go on to the next.
Yep, for the next student. Quickly look up and look back down. Narrate.
Jalen's at level 0. Ashton's at level 0.
One thing I want to stop and try to do, I want to see you exaggerate your look. So that way they know you're looking, because half the part of narration. Narration's like, I see you. I see you're doing well. So I want you literally to get on your tiptoes.
And check
around. And so if you're in a situation where I'm checking a notebook here and I have kids behind me, I want to see you do this and exaggerate. Okay. Even if you already know who you want to narrate, I want them to be like, why does she got that giraffe neck? Like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
Looking at everybody as you narrate. So let's try again. You've just given your MVP. Yeah. Exaggerate your narration. Right. Be seen looking as you narrate.
Eric's at level 0.
Get up on those tiptoes.
Estrella's at level 0.
Crane your neck.
Diego's at level 0.
Get all the way over the back corner.
Ashton, we're at level 0. It's a verbal warning. Check Deshaun, we're at level 0.
Get up on your tiptoes, you exaggerate, but go back to the notebook. And go back down. Exaggerate, looking right and left, and narrate. Like, go crazy. Get that draft neck going, girl.
Okay.
Narrate.
Lauren's at level 0. Michaela's at level 0. Mackenzie's at level 0.
You got it. Have a seat.
Okay.
How is this going to help, this practice that we do, how is that going to ensure you're able to narrate after, during the interruptions or during the sustained task?
I could sit in my head, so the next time I'm actually in that situation, like it's almost like muscle memory. Like that's what I did last time, so I think to do it.
How silly was it to exaggerate?
It's not. That's actually what I do when I'm actually in the situation. Because like, if I've given you the MVP and I've asked you to do something and it's a simple direction to follow, when you don't do it, I'm really like indignant. So I do have the exaggerated look, and I do, it's the hand on the hip. I'm leaning. I'm looking at you. Like in actuality, that's what I'm doing. It's just it feels a little weird doing it without the actual situation and the students and stuff. But yeah, that's what I would.
So what is our second action step going to be? Our first is narrate after each MVP interruption, including sustained task. What is the second one going to be then after that practice?
I don't know exactly how you would word it, but like maybe using like exaggerated.
Yeah. Do that. Exaggerating, be seen looking.
Okay, stance. I like that.
Yeah, because even if you can see everybody, how is that going to help kids on the other side of the room? if they see this exaggerated movement from you.
Well, they know I'm going out of my way to make sure I can see everything.
That's right. So,
yeah.
That's half the battle.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we've got your narrations. You're going to narrate after, and then you're going to do that exaggerating, be seen looking. I'm going to come and observe you again this week. I'm going to email you the time.
Okay.
When I come to observe you, I'm going to be looking for this. Okay. So remember, you've made growth a lot. This is what we're honing in on this time, and this is what I'm going to be looking for. And then, do you have any questions for me?
No.
Any needs from this?
No, that's pretty clear.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Pate.
Thank you.
I'll see you. We'll walk together to